we have to go very fast, actually, real fast, because we have to complete 15 chapter in another 10 to 12 days. Okay, but there will not be any problem because you are not going to derive anything. Okay, so I will start. Just wait. Actually, it is taking little bit time to log in from my system. So I'll tell you something, and once the system is right, then I will discuss some of the examples. Okay, just wait. Okay, chapter 9 is rotation of rigid bodies. You can write few things because my system is checking certain things. It will be all right. Before that, you write something. Chapter 9, rotation of rigid bodies. Are you writing?
Yes, sir.
Harish?
Writing, sir.
Harish, am I audible?
Yes, sir, audible.
Okay. Okay. So you write chapter 9, rotation of rigid bodies. Okay. Then under this chapter, there are 4 topics which we want to read. Number 1, rotational kinematics. Right? Rotational kinematics. Then second is relating linear and angular kinematics. Relating linear and angular kinematics. Have you written?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Third is moment of inertia and rotational kinetic energy. Moment of inertia and rotational kinetic energy. Okay. Then the last one is calculating the moment of inertia. Calculating the moment of inertia. Completed?
Yes, sir.
So just tell me, Asutosh, what you wrote.
Sir, we covered 4 things in this chapter. First is rotational kinematics. Second, relating linear and angular kinematics. Third is moment of and rotational kinetic energy. And fourth is calculating the moment of inertia.
Good, good. Thank you. Now you see, make 2 tables. In the first column, write linear motion, and in the second column, write angular motion. or rotational motion, whatever you like. First column is linear motion, second column is rotational motion or angular motion. Rotational motion you can write, and then you enter the term. First is position x, because we have denoted x for position or displacement. So you write position, comma x in the first column. In the second column, for rotational motion, you write theta or angle. Okay. The position is measured in meter and angle here is measured in radian. Okay. Then you write linear velocity Vx, small v subscript x. Then angular velocity. In the rotational column, you write angular velocity omega subscript z. Okay. Then small v in the linear motion is speed. And in the angular motion column, you write omega. Omega is angular speed. Then on the left hand side, you write linear acceleration ax, small a subscript x. And in the other column, you write angular acceleration alpha z, alpha subscript z. Okay. A on the left hand column, you write a is equal to magnitude of acceleration. Here alpha is the magnitude of angular acceleration. A is the magnitude of linear acceleration. Alpha is the magnitude of angular acceleration. Then V naught x. V naught x is initial linear velocity. Initial linear velocity omega 0 z. 0 and z are subscript. Omega 0 z is equal to initial angular velocity. Okay. So now we know omega naught z, omega z, alpha z, omega, alpha, then theta, theta naught is the position, angular position at t is equal to 0. Okay. So just wait. Now I am ready. Just wait. Okay. So now you see we have to relate the kinematics equations in linear motion with the kinematical equation of angular or rotational motion. As they are, we have found out omega z is equal to, just wait. Yes. Just I'm reconnecting. Just wait. Okay. Just wait. I just so uh, Vx is equal to V naught x plus axt. That equation in rotational motion will become omega z is equal to omega naught z plus alpha zt. Just wait. So I can write. Now I am connecting with the system. Just wait. Maybe it will come. Just wait. Yes. Just wait. So I'm disconnecting from the other one. Okay. Now, are you able to see my screen? Yes.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. So, what I was telling now that will be very clearly understood. Just so we have the equation Vx for linear motion. Vx is equal to V naught x plus axt. Now that equation will be, so for angular motion in place of Vx we will write z. Z is the axis about which the body is rotating. By default we will take that z as the axis of rotation. So omega naught z is the initial angular velocity, okay, and then plus alpha zt. Alpha z is the angular acceleration, okay. So similarly, there is an equations, you know, x is equal to x naught, x is equal to x naught plus v naught xt, v naught x t plus half axt square, half axt square, half ax t square. So the corresponding equation in rotational motion will be theta is equal to theta naught plus omega naught z t, omega naught z into t plus half alpha zt square, 1 by 2 alpha z t square. Okay, so what we will do now, we will immediately go to an example. I will show you what are the things that we are going to learn in chapter 9. Just wait, I will be sharing those things with you. Okay. This is chapter 9. Okay. These are the topics and these are the test to understanding. These are the 4 topics that we want to read and then the example. So directly I am doing an example 9.3. Okay. So this example 9.3 I will do. Now example 9.3, instead of writing the question, I will write that question for you sometime. We will immediately do the question. So this is example 9.3. Example 9.3. I am reading out the questions. You should be attentive, listen to the question and then how I am solving the question. Look at that. You have finished watching a movie on Blu-ray and the disc is slowing to a stop. Okay, you are running a DVD and you are watching a movie and the movie time period ended and the disk is slowly going to stop. So the disk's angular velocity at t is equal to 0 is 27 point radian per second. So omega naught z is given. Omega naught z of that disk is equal to 27.5 radian per second. 27.5. So this may look like 2. So let me put it like this. So this becomes 27.5 radian per second. Okay. So this is the initial angular velocity of the disk, and its angular acceleration is a constant, and it has an angular acceleration which is given as alpha z is equal to minus 10 radian per second square, minus 10 radian per second square, 10 radian per second square. Now you see, when the body rotates in anticlockwise direction, normally we take it as plus, and when it rotates in clockwise direction like this, we take it as minus. Second, your omega naught z is plus, alpha z is minus. Both the directions are opposite to each other. So what will happen to the angular speed? Can anybody say? Your angular velocity has a positive sign and the angular acceleration has a negative sign. So what will happen to the angular speed?
Decrease.
It will remain same, increase or decrease?
Decrease.
Decrease.
It will decrease. Yes, that is right. It will decrease. And we will see that. Now, a line PQ on the disk surface lies along the positive x-axis at t is equal to 0. Suppose this is your disk. Okay, suppose this is the disk. This is its center. There is a line. The line is PQ, which is lying on the positive x-axis at t is equal to 0. Now this line will move because this disk is moving. So naturally the line PQ will also move. After certain time PQ will be like this, then like this, then like this, then like this. So with the rotation of the disk, the PQ's position will also change. Now the question is, what is the disk's angular velocity at t is equal to 0.3 second? Okay, so we have to find out omega z. Time is given and we have to find out omega z after t is equal to 0.3 second. So what is the other thing given? Time. Time is equal to 0.3 second. Okay, 0. As this book has the habit of taking three numbers up to 3 significant figures from the decimal, that's why it is writing 0.300 second. Now you see, I will use this formula, the first for this formula. Okay, and I will get my omega z. So what will be my omega z? My omega z will be omega naught z. So I will write 27.5 radian per second. 27.5 radian per second. Okay, then plus alpha zt, but my alpha z is minus, so minus 10 radian per second square into time, which is 0.3, is 3 by 10. Okay, 3 by 10. So you will get 10 cancelled. So this will also become radian, because radian by second square into second will be radian per second. So you will be getting radian per second. So finally your omega z will be 24.5 radian per second. 24.5 radian per second. So naturally, due to opposite signs of the angular velocity and angular acceleration, the angular velocity will decrease with time, and and that's why we are getting a lower value, that is 24.5 radian per second after 0.3 second. So one of our answer to the question we got. Okay, the second question is, what angle does the line PQ make with the positive x-axis at this time? So we have to find out theta. So we have to use the second equation. So you see how this example gives you an illustration of the application or use of the two formulas. Already one formula I have used. Now I will use this second formula. So after 0.3 second, what is the angle described by the line PQ, that I have to find out. So I will write theta. So this equation I will use. Now what is my theta naught? At x is equal to 0, the line was coinciding with positive x-axis. So theta naught is equal to 0 radian. Theta naught is equal to 0. Okay. So this is 0 radian. No, okay, 0 angle, that means. So what will be my theta? So my theta will be omega naught z into t. Omega naught z is how much? 27.5. So I will write 27.5 radian per second into t, 3 by 10 into 3 by 10 second. So radian by second into second will be radian. So I will be left with radian only. Okay, then plus half alpha z t square. Now alpha z is minus, so minus 1 by 2 in place of alpha z 10, and t square is 3 by 10 square is 9 by 100. T square is 9, 10 square is 100. So I will be getting 100. So what will be my first term? My first term will be, this will be, upper will be 82.5 by 10. So 8.25, 8.25 radian, 8.25 radian, 8.25 radian minus this zero get cancelled, and we get 9 by 20. 9 by 20 means 4.5 by 10 to 0.45 minus 0.45 radian. Okay, so this will become 0.45 radian. So what will be my angle? So that is equal to 8.25 minus 0.45 is 7.80. So that is the radian or the angle described by PQ after 0.3 second. This is the radian. You can, if you like, you can convert it into degree. How you are going to convert? Because pi radian corresponds to 100 degree. So 180 degree. Pi radian corresponds to 180 degree. 1 radian will be 180 by pi. So 7.80 radian is how much that you have to find out. And if you want to find out how much revolutions this has taken, you know 2 pi radian corresponds to 1 complete revolution. So 1 radian will correspond to 1 by 2 pi rotations. So 7.80 will be into 7.80. Pi is 3.14. So 7.80 divided by 6.28. 7.80 divided by 6.28. 6.28 is equal to 1.24. So the body will, the disc will, in this time, the disc will complete one full oscillations, and point 0.2, point 0.2 means 1/5 of another oscillations, or in angle it will be 360 degree plus 1/5 of 360 degree. 1/5 of 360 degree will be how much? 72 degree. So 360 plus 72 degree. That means after completing one oscillation, your PQ line will be closer to the vertical line. That means if this is your x-axis, this is your y-axis, and this is your Am I audible? Am I audible, Asutosh?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Audible, sir.
Okay. Okay. So, are you able to see my screen or not?
No, sir.
Okay.
No,
Let me share it 1 second. Okay. So that is the problem. Sometimes it is being. What I was telling you, I now want to find out my relationship between angular motion and linear motion, and that connecting breeze or that connecting relationship is V is equal to R omega. Now, are you able to see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
sir.
This V is not angular velocity. This V is linear speed. This omega is not angular velocity. It is linear
Excuse me, sir.
speed. Yes.
Sir, you left us in the previous question only.
Yes.
You left us in the previous question only.
Where I left you, where you, the screen was not visible.
Sir, you were explaining the meaning of 1.24 rotation.
I was explaining the meaning of.
1.24 rotation.
Okay. Of course, that was almost over, I think. What I was doing is that, yes, that was over because I was telling you more than the answer expected from the question. The question was, what angle does the line PQ make with the positive x-axis at this time? You have found it out to 7.8 radian. That is enough. I was just trying to show you what is 7.80 radian. That will be equivalent to 1.24 revolutions. That means the PQ line must have rotated once and then 1/5 of another rotation, because 0.2 will be 1/5 of another rotation. Okay, that was only. That means if you look at the angle, it has already covered 360 degree and then 87 degree, close to 90 degree. Suppose if this is the disc and if this is your line PQ, if this is your line PQ, after 0.3 second, where you are going to find your line? That was the second bit of the question. Where you will find out? It will make one complete rotation, it will come back to this PQ, and then again it will make, this is your 90 degree mark. So your PQ line will be here, somewhere else here. So this is 87 degree, because 0.24 revolution is 87 degree. One revolution is 360 degree and 0.24 revolution is 87 degree. So your PQ line will be making, will be at what angle does the line PQ make with the positive x-axis? So you can say 87 degree. It will make an angle of 87 degree with the positive x-axis. Is it clear to you? Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now the next important question is to establish a relationship between angular motion and linear motion. In angular motion, if omega is the linear speed, v is the, sorry, omega is the angular speed, v is the linear speed, and r is the perpendicular distance between the axis of rotation and the mass point, then v is equal to r omega. What does that mean? That I was just trying to explain you. Suppose I am a person and I am rotating. Okay, let us say I am rotating. Yes. Anybody? So suppose this is the axis of rotation. It is passing through like this, and I am rotating like this. You see, all my body parts will rotate with the same speed. Suppose these are my eyes, this is my nose, and this is my ear. Then my ear, my eyes, my nose, my mouth, my body, my hand, my leg, all will rotate with same angular speed. If the angular speed will be different, who is Isi Bibhav Dhar? What happened? Hello? Isi Bibhav Dhal, what do you want? Isi Bibhav Dhal, are you listening me? Hello? Who is that fellow? Now you see, if my ear, my eyes, my nose will not rotate with the same angular speed, and if my ear rotates more than my mouth or my eyes, then I will become flattened. Are you able to understand? I will not keep my appearance as I was looking. Rather, my face will get deformed, which does not happen because I am a rigid body. All my parts will move with same angular speed, but all my parts will not move with same linear speed. That is very important, because all points which are lying on the axis of rotation have zero linear speed. That you must understand, because r is 0, so they will be 0, and a point which is farther and farther away. Now if you see this body, suppose there is a body which consists of 3 mass points, and I will call them as m1, I will call this as m2, and I will call this as m3. Whose angular speed is more, m1, m2, m3? Yes, Asutosh, can you say whose angular speed is more?
M3.
Whose angular speed is more, m1, m2, m3? And it is
M3.
yes,
M3, sir.
yes. Can you say whose angular speed
M3.
is more? The angular speed of all the mass points are same. Okay, m1, m2, and m3 all will be rotating with the same angular speed omega. But the linear speed of m1 is least. Why it will be least? Because the perpendicular distance is only this much. Here the perpendicular distance is this much, and here the perpendicular distance is this much. So m3 has a larger r, isn't it? This r3 is bigger than r2, and r1 is smallest of all these 3. So the linear speed of m1 will be less, the linear speed of m2 will be medium, and the linear speed of m3 will be highest. So this is how the linear speed and the angular speed are connected. So now we'll do another example, that is example 9.8. So let us go to example 9.8. Okay, so now I will be working out example 9.8. So what is example 9.8? Let us see. Yes, so this example is a little bit longer. Again, I will read out the problem without writing the question, and then I will try to work out the example. Okay, so this is example 9.8. Example 9.8. Example 9.8, what is happening, I will tell you. There is a cylinder which is fixed, and it is rotating around a horizontal axis like this, and the thread is wrapped over it. Okay, WRAPPED, just gift wrapping, like that. The thread is wrapped over it, WRAPPED. Okay, now one end of that thread is connected with a mass, and the mass is on a support like this. The mass is on a support. Okay, and this is ground, and the mass is at a height of h. from this ground. This distance is h. Okay. The mass of this big cylinder is m, and its radius, this radius is r. This mass of the block is small m, height is h. Okay. Now the question is, as the block falls, how the block will fall? If the support that is there at the below of the mass, if you remove that support, automatically mass will fall, and this thread which is wrapped over this cylinder, it will get unwrapped, and this mass will, the more the mass will go towards the ground, the more the thread will be unwrapping, and this will start this cylinder rotating. So this mass is falling and the cylinder is rotating. So what is happening? What is happening? What is happening? Who is doing what kind of motion? Can you say? Who is doing what kind of motion?
The string is doing linear motion and the cylinder is doing rotational motion.
Yes, this mass is making linear motion, and the cylinder is making only rotational motion. Why the cylinder is making only rotational motion? Because it is fixed. It cannot do translational motion because it is fixed, and it can rotate about the horizontal axis only. So by virtue of its rotational motion, this mass possesses an energy which is called rotational kinetic energy. And what is its expression? K rotational is equal to, as K for kinetic energy for translational motion is half mv square. You know, K is equal to half mv square. If a mass of m moves with a linear speed of v, then it will possess a kinetic energy of half mv square. Similarly, the equivalent of mass is called moment of inertia, and we represent it by a symbol capital I, and the equation is almost same, half I omega square. Omega is its angular speed, I is the moment of inertia, which is the rotational equivalent of mass. And how I is defined? I, if a mass m is rotating about an axis at a distance r from it, then it possesses a moment of inertia which is written as I is equal to mr square. If there are many particles and their distance from the axis of rotation is different, then I can write my moment of inertia I is equal to sum of I is equal to 1. Too many particles means suppose n number of particles are there, then I will write it as mi ri square. Mi ri square. What does that mean? If n is equal to 3, then this means I is equal to m1 r1 square plus m2 r2 square plus m3 r3 square. Okay. If mass is not discretely distributed, but it is continuously distributed, then this summation sign will be replaced by an integration, and we will write the moment of inertia as r square dm. What does that mean? Dm is an infinitesimal mass which is rotating around an axis I, and which is at a distance of r from that axis of rotation. That's why its moment of inertia I is equal to r square dm integration, which will give you the total moment of inertia of that body about a fixed axis. One important difference between moment mass and moment of inertia is that mass is constant, but moment of inertia depends upon the axis of rotation. The distribution of mass is very important. What does that mean? Suppose you must have seen that if you are
Sir,
yes,
sir, if the mass is continuously distributed, then the equation will be I is equal to m integration r square dm, right?
I is equal to
Sir, then where is the mass like in the second equation?
This I is equal to r square dm. Yes. Yes. What is your question?
Sir, I got it. Sir, what happens to the mass I was asking?
Mass, nothing. Mass is what is actually happening. If I have got a body, suppose I have got a body like this. Let us assume this is one mass point. This is another mass point. This is another mass point, and the body is connected with light rods. Suppose like this. Okay, very light, massless rod. And now the whole body is rotating about this axis. And if you want to find out moment of inertia, what you are going to do? You have to find out this distance, this perpendicular distance, this perpendicular distance, this perpendicular distance. You know the mass, that is m1. Now you know r1. So m1 r1 square, m2 plus m2 r2 square plus m3 r3 square, and that will give you the total moment of inertia of this body when it is rotating about this fixed axis in an anti-clockwise direction. Okay, but if your mass is not discrete but it is distributed, what does it mean? Normally all mass is distributed. Suppose you are taking a disk. You must have seen a disk. In the disk, the mass is distributed continuously like this. So how can you take the mass points? Sorry, it is distributed continuously. So there is no discrete distribution of mass. In that case, suppose you want to find out the moment of inertia of this disk about this axis, then what you are going to do? You will select a small mass. You will select a small mass like this. Let us assume, and then you have to find out a small this mass. What is that distance? Suppose actually this will be different. That we will do if we will take a ring, that will be better. So ring, let us take a ring first. Because the mass is only situated on the rim. Rim means edge. Here mass is there, all other things are hollow, but the mass is distributed continuously. In that case, what you are going to do? You take a small mass. This is the small mass, and you call this mass dm. You call this mass as dm, and this distance is r. Then what is the moment of inertia of this whole object? The moment of inertia of this will be, now you see, of this small mass, the moment of inertia will be r square dm. This will be r square dm. Okay. Now you divide this ring into small mass, into these small masses like this. Okay, like this, all the rings. So if you want to find out the total moment of inertia of this ring, then you have to take an integration, and this integration limit will be from 0 to 2 pi r, isn't it? Because or because this r, because 0 to m, so the whole ring, suppose the mass is m, so you can call it as m. You take r square out, and integration of 0 to m dm is m. So the moment of inertia of this ring about an axis passing through its center and perpendicular to its plane is r square m, or mr square. So I is equal to mr square. This is how it is found out. Okay, you will see when we will do one or two calculations. At least I will do one calculations for you as far as disk is concerned. So this is the moment of inertia of a ring. Okay, so now coming back to this problem, what I was telling you is that when the small mass will fall down, then it will pull the ring, and in return the ring will get unwrapped from the big cylinder, and the cylinder will rotate. So basically the whole problem can be reduced into moving of the small mass downward, possessing kinetic energy, translational kinetic energy, or half mv square, and rotating the fixed cylinder, possessing rotational kinetic energy half I omega square. This cylinder, you will see its moment of inertia about an axis passing through its center and perpendicular to its plane is half mr square. That also you can find out. That's not a very big task. Most probably you have done it in your +2, because nobody is going to ask now in your semester examination how this moment of inertia is derived. So we should not spend time in finding out how the moment of inertia of a cylinder I is equal to half mr square, or a disk is equal to half mr square. Okay, so just remember that I is equal to half mr square. So now this system consists of two objects, this fixed cylinder and this small mass. So it has total energy is conserved. So what will be the total energy? Potential energy of this body. Suppose this height is h, this big height here, this is h suppose. So what will be the energy of this big cylinder? It will be mgh. What will be its translational kinetic energy? 0, because it is fixed. Okay, so what will be its rotational kinetic energy? Only half I omega square. So I will write half I omega square. This is all about the big cylinder. What about this small cylinder? It doesn't have any rotational kinetic energy. So it has potential energy and translational kinetic energy. So gravitational potential energy is mgh, and translational kinetic energy, because it is now moving, will be half mv square. Okay, I can write it like this, half mv square. Okay, initial must be equal to final. So what is this is initial, because initially this is final, I have written. Okay, this is final. Initially this potential energy of the big cylinder is mgh, that is right, but initially it is at rest, so no kinetic energy. Initially the small one is also, the mass is also at rest, so only potential energy and no kinetic energy. So this is in the initial total energy of the system. This is final total energy of mechanical energy of the system. This is initial total mechanical energy of the system, because the potential energy of the big cylinder remaining same, it is not moving down or up. So mgh get cancelled, and you are left with mgh. This mgh, oh no, sorry, finally this will not be mgh, because it will fall on the ground. So when it will fall on the ground, its potential energy is a 0. When it this mass has already touched the ground, its potential energy is 0. So our one position, initial position is this one, and the final position is this one. So we have applied the conservation of energy to point 1 and point 2. When this thread is unwrapping, this linear velocity v and this linear velocity of the block is same. So I can write v is equal to capital R omega. That you must understand, capital R omega. Okay, and this question says you find the speed of the falling block. What will be this v, the small v? So how I am going to find this? This is, so in place of omega, I will write v square by r square. So here on the left hand side, I will write half. In place of I will write half mr square, another 1 by 2 mr square, and in place of omega, I will write v square by r square, because omega is v by r. So v square by r square plus half mv square plus half mv square, half mv square is equal to mgh, is equal to mgh. Okay, so this r square get cancelled. So if you do the mathematics, then you will find out that your velocity v is equal to 2gh by 1 plus, only simple algebra, 2gh divided by 1 plus capital M by small m root over. Okay, this is how you will get your velocity, because thoroughly divide it by small m. So this small m get cancelled, this small m get cancelled. Here you will get m by m, isn't it? So then what you will do, multiply by 2. So if you multiply by 2, this 2 get cancelled, this 2 get cancelled, and here you will get 2gh. So this is your 2gh. Then you take, so v square, you take common v square. So if you take common v square, it will be 1 plus capital M by, sorry, this is, there is a 2 here, okay, capital M by 2m. Okay, so naturally v is equal to square root of 2gh by 1 plus m by 2m. So this is how you can find out the velocity of this object. Okay, because you are not going to do much things and the questions are of MCQ nature, so I think you should not go for very deeper expressions. Okay, so I think I should stop it here. The rest of chapter 9 either we'll take in the next class, or what is there in your I think all your practical are over, all the 8 experiments are over. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let us see what is happening, whether they are going to revise it or what. You will know at 2 o'clock. Okay, so at with these words, let me stop here, and we will meet in the 2 to 4 classes. Okay, so thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, so I have got another class, so thank you very